Hello everybody, it's me, Retrovin, and we're back with another review. This time we're going to be reviewing the epic sequel to Spyro the Dragon, Spyro Riptos Rage. Now I think this game is a very heavy improvement on the first game, possibly one of the best Spyro games out there, but not the best. I'll give you my reasons why I love this game and some nitpicks here and there. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the review, everybody. So, Spyro's adventure starts out with it raining everywhere, and Spyro be like, is this rain ever gonna stop? So, like the mischievous dragon he is, he really wants to go on a vacation. So they think, alright, let's go through this weird portal, and that's just what they end up doing. In between that, the Professor, Elora, and Hunter are trying to figure out a way to stop this Ripto guy. Their thought is their best chance to do it is to get a dragon, and what better to mention to get a dragon than the one that Spyro just freed a bunch of big ones from? And I'm guessing you can tell by this point that what's going to happen is Spyro's getting Spyro to come out of the portal, and he says stuff like rough landing. He's kind of confused because he doesn't know who any of these people are for obvious reasons. Eventually an evil villain named Ripto comes around and says, I hate dragons! And because of that hatred, now Spyro has to help these people because these people said, okay, if you help us, Spyro, we'll stop this, we'll let you go to Dragon Shores. Because that's Spyro's dream, he wants to go on vacation. And, you know, if the only way to do it is to stop Ripto, along with his heroism, then he'll do that. Anyways, though, let's continue on with the story. There's not a ton to the story, it's very much like the first game, but it is a more detailed story than the first game, I will say that. Well, after a couple of hub worlds and defeating of a bunch of enemies, Spyro eventually thinks that he's defeated Ripto, and as far as he can tell, he has, because now it gets to the point where Elora's like, okay, we're gonna let you go on vacation, so they give him, you know, a nice little vacation chair, whatever you call it, you know, the cool glasses, all the stuff vacations, you know, vacation people would want, basically. All the good stuff. But it turns out that Ripto's still around, and he eventually, you know, comes out and destroys the portal again. And now, you know, Laura and Hunter and the Professor have to go get Spyro's help. Luckily for them, though, Spyro's kind of concerned as to what's going on with everybody, and he ends up following them. And that's where the final act of the game begins. And once again, Spyro goes face-to-face with Ripto. After Ripto's defeated, Spyro finally gets the chance to go to Dragon Shores. Sadly for him, though, he needs a certain amount of orbs to unlock the portal, so that will be a thing, too. And also, he'll need a certain amount of gems and orbs to even get in. But after getting in, you also need, you know, enough gems and orbs. Actually, you need every gem and orb. You need a 100% the game to get the secret flame breath that's there. You can still go through Dragon Shores, which is basically like a mini-game section, so there's not a ton to it, but it's a nice little, whatchamacallit, rendition to the game that I enjoy. Anyways, though, with the story out of the way, let's get on with the main stuff. So, now that we got the story out of the way, we can get on with the basic moves. So basically, it's very similar, actually almost exactly the same as the other one. So, you got your walk, you got your jump and glide, you got your flame, you got your charge and everything. A thing that the Reignited trilogy added, though, is the roll. So basically the roll is a thing that did not appear in the original sequels, but that they brought back in Reignited, which is really cool, because, like, you don't need it, because, like, it is meant to just be a remake, but the fact that they added that kind of stuff is a really nice thing that I think is worth mentioning, and worth giving praise to Toys for Bob for, you know, doing that and everything. One major thing I really like about this game are the really cute and interesting intro cutscenes. So each level, I repeat, each level has a cool intro cutscene detailing like the whole plot line of the level and an outro cutscene for when you leave the level. It really gives sort of a feel and character to each environment you go into, and you get to know like what the characters you eventually meet and, you know, also the enemy characters are like. So it adds a real depth of feel to it that the first game didn't have. You also have different flags which represent like each region of the game. So like, yeah, every level feels like its own sort of, I guess, mini nation or country almost, because like you have people that you need to help against usually. Actually, there's no set enemy, really. Like, there are Riptos, but there's also, like, different enemies for each environment. There's even situations where you're fighting rival factions, like in Zephyr and the one level with the birds. So basically, in Zephyr, you're fighting the birds, right, to help the worm people, but in the other level, you're now helping the birds fight the worms. So basically, Spyro took two sides in a war. He helped the bird people take out the worms, and then he helped the worms take out the bird people. Spyro's pretty fucking evil, but you know what? He does what he has to do to get the talisman, which is what we're getting on to next. Now, with the talisman that I, just mentioned, they're only for the first two hubs. By the time you get to the third hub, you do have to start collecting the other main collectible, which is orbs. And orbs are things you can do by doing little tasks for people, whether it be, various different mini-games or challenges. Oh yeah, I need to talk about the mini-games, because there's a lot of interesting ones. Now, in the game, minigame-wise, you could be doing various things like ice hockey, stuff like that. Not even just ice hockey, but you could do stuff like, there's also, like, one where you have to shoot fish into a thing. You have to do a weird puzzle challenge. Some of them are kind of annoying, though, because, like, there's also ones where you have to fly around and shoot these little birthday people, and they're really annoying to do. I hate doing it. Not that the hockey one is unannoying, because the hockey one does get annoying when you have, like, two enemies. The first one's pretty easy, because you just have to stop this guy from blocking the puck. But there's also ones where if you don't have a certain power-up unlocked, you are not able to do said minigame, because said minigame is locked behind that, sadly. Which sucks, because, you'd want to be able to have the chance to not have to redo it, because I'll give you an example. There's one level where you have to help this guy, you have to help this guy get to Hunter, right? Once he gets Hunter freed, you actually need a certain power-up to get Hunter to another position to help the guy. And that is really annoying because you have to do this other terrible section just to get back to him and redo that whole area. Just a little complaint I have, and it's not even a nitpick because that's legitimately an issue. On the subject of power-ups, though, every hub you beat, you actually unlock a new thing, whether it be climbing, slamming your head down, which is basically like a head slam. That was the thing I was referring to that you needed. It's still a cool thing, but I wish that, say, if you finished a certain part of, like, a mission, you shouldn't have to do that again. You should be able to do the second part still. And I get that it's, like, PS1 memory, but it's one of those things that with the Reignited trilogy they could have taken out, but they didn't. You still have to redo that whole section, and I get it's a remake, but they fixed other things, and I feel like they could have fixed that too. The power-ups, though, are cool, and I enjoy them. Environment-wise, this game has a lot going for it. It has a very wide-ranging amount of areas, especially compared to the first game, because you know how I said the first game was very medieval-themed in my previous review? The sequel is just, it's all out, various different environments. It's kind of got more of a, I guess, a fantastical, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not, like, mythical or anything, but it's more of a, like, weird feel to it that I like. And every level, almost every level, even though some of them are kind of themed or close to each other, they all have their own sort of feel to them and their own character. And that also goes with the level intros that I mentioned previously. It all comes together in a nice little package. Also, to go with the power-ups thing I mentioned earlier, you can unlock temporary power-ups if you kill a certain amount of enemies. Whether it be like a bouncy thing or, invincibility for a little bit. It can help you in certain situations, like in Skelos Badlands when you're in the lava and you need help to get through the lava with your invincibility. Various things like that. Also, gems are a pretty important collectible, because you have to pay this one bastard called Moneybags, and if you don't have enough, you're gonna have to go looking around, because, there are a lot of points where Moneybags will block you, and honestly, if he didn't do that, I know a lot of people hate him, but if he didn't do that, you wouldn't really have much of a reason to get the gems, so I'm still happy they have him around, even if he is a big fucking bitch. The boss battles in this game are way better compared to Spyro 1. Where Spyro 1 was just you chasing enemies, this one is actual boss battles. You're actually combating different people, and they're all creative in their own way. Now, with Crush, you basically have to avoid his shots, and once he gets out of the way, then you hit him. It's kind of similar to Spyro 1 fights, but it's more advanced compared to that. Crush... Crush was the first one. Gulp, the second one, Sorry, I forgot for a second. Gulp for the second one is basically like a big, burling, kind of like a, I don't know what you call it, like it's kind of like a big dog, basically. And you have to find a way to avoid his attacks while also, like, throwing stuff at him. So you gotta ram barrels at him, because that's usually the only way to hit him, because the guy's big and beefy. In the Ripto fight, you have to utilize different power-ups that he could use on you as well. So you want to try to get these orbs before he does, and these orbs are the various different orbs you got throughout the game. So it's cool that there's a utilization for them rather than just 100%ing the game. There is also a reappearance from Gulp within this fight, which is pretty cool, and there's like a very cool final act where you're chasing down Ripto and a bird. It's all very nice, and the boss battles are a bit more varied compared to 1. I like it. And they're about the same as the first game. Unlike Spyro 2, like with most things I've been talking about, they didn't really change much here, and I'm cool with that, because the Speedways in the first game were basically good the way they were. The only difference that the Spyro 2 Speedways really have is that now there are extra challenges you can do after you beat the Speedway, which means that if you find a secret area, there might be someone out there that wants to do a mission, or wants you to do a mission for them. So if you look around, you might find a mayor of a town who wants you to take out some bandits, or you might find Hunter who wants to shoot down some stuff, or you could find somebody in a crowd even, like that's watching you, give you some sort of mission. A lot of variety in it. Again, though, it's about the same as the first one, so I couldn't really say that it would change up too much. With most stuff out of the way, I think it's a good idea now to talk about the music. Now, the music is about the same as the first game, but it's a bit of a step up in my opinion, because rather than just like the simple sort of music, I feel like Spyro 2 really has some heavy hitters in my book. So I want to show off some of those heavy hitters, because a lot of these soundtracks are generally really good. Why don't you give some a listen? Anyways, that was my review of Spyro 2 Riptos Rage. A very solid game and a much bigger improvement from Spyro 1, if I do say so myself. Anyways, though, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and you guys stick around for my review of You're the Dragon in the next few days. If you guys enjoyed, feel free to like, subscribe, comment what you liked about the video. What was your favorite part if you watched a lot of it? That'd be really cool. But anyways, I'll see you guys in my next review, and I always appreciate your viewership. I'm out. Peace.